There are a lot of bad cards in Legends of Runeterra, but what if we could change that? What if Tahm Kench was a Targon champion? What if Mirror Mage was a landmark? What if we added Path of Champions cards to PvP? I need someone who's actually good at the game to tell me what the impact of those changes might be, so I invited MajinBae to walk through all the cards I have here for you today. So Majin, I'll explain the rules to you. I'm going to show you some terrible cards, some just awful cards that never see play at all, and then I'll show you an updated version of that card by me to make them a little more playable and exciting. And then we're going to talk about whether or not that card would break the game.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, before we start, I did some research. I have a pretty good idea of what your favorite decks and cards might be, but can you just tell us what they are?
Big fan of Ionia. I like Targon. Anything with Ahri, Lee Sin, and Zoe. Sometimes Karma. Probably my favorite.
Yeah, I had a feeling. All right, I got some Ionia cards in here for you, but we're gonna start with this card. You may have seen it.
I have in fact seen this, yes.
All right, here's the updated version.
All right, Bayou Brunch, 3 mana, burst now. An ally captures another ally and gains the captured ally stats. Burst speed. Wow, I think that's a scary card. That's really scary. You can respond to a combat spell or anything like that?
Yeah, it's going to be super strong at 3 mana, but I mean, you played League, and you know what Tahm Kench does in League, right? Where he eats the ally to save them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where this came from.
Wow. I'm trying to think, because obviously it still would, you'd have it as like a Tahm Kench spell. I'm trying to think what other decks like would want to just run this as like a combat trick. And I don't think there's a ton of decks that could take advantage of the whole capturing thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Like Kench could.
Because you can't release the ally.
Yeah, it might bring back like, I don't know, Tahm Kench Aphelios or something. Those were the good old days.
Oh, with the Val Temple. Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty spicy. Was that like, that deck came out as like a specific counter to that exact same deck, but with Twisted Fate, right? Something like that?
Yes. And it let you play TF Fizz in the same lineup.
Oh, right. Smart.
I think this might be busted. I'm just trying to think of an example of how, and I can't do it yet. I would love to see this be released into the game just to see how people could absolutely break it, because I think they could.
Oh, for sure.
I think this would be busted within 2 days.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have like a mana cost in mind where this might be balanced?
Ooh, at burst speed? Okay, so if you made it focus speed, I think you could do it. I think even at 3, it would be like okay at focus speed. Burst speed, I think it would have to at least 4, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 5 if you actually didn't want to break the game.
Yeah, I was thinking 5 too.
There's a huge leap between 3 and 4, right? Like that's probably the biggest difference maker in terms of spell mana, because you can bank the 3, even just like mid combat. You line up your blocks, right? You're going to eat this unit, you're going to block here, get a good trade there, and then they cast Bayou Brunch, and all of a sudden you're not anymore.
Oh, you're right.
You just get blown out.
Oh yeah, that's actually really awkward during combat. You're right. I could also see it with something like Zap, just like instantly eating like a big unit and then go for the elusive attack. That could be pretty toxic too.
I don't think there's really any of these in Runeterra yet, but there's always them in like every card game. There's going to be something that's overstated with a downside. Like the closest I think we have is like Crocolith, but eventually they would print more, and that would be a fantastic Bayou Brunch target. Maybe there's like a large card that like can't attack.
Yeah.
But then you just steal its stats and like you said, throw it on Zap Sprayfin or Burblefish, and you just kill your opponent.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, even something like Tarkaz, like a 5 mana 5/8 is pretty big. All right, so here's the next one in the same archetype. I'm really curious what you think about this one and what decks could be possible.
All right, so classic Tahm Kench. Is this a? Oh, oh, okay, I see it now. I just read all the text and it was the same. All right, so Tahm Kench moved to Targon. Okay. I mean, clearly, like, Targon is the synergistic region with Tahm Kench, not Bilgewater. I think that keeps him and a lot of things in check, because you're forced to run Bilge Targon, right? But if he's already in Targon, it opens you up to so many different things. You can run any other region. Possibly. Do you know how upset people would be with Bard Tahm Kench?
Oh my god, you're right. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, clearly it doesn't work from like a flavor lore standpoint,
right.
but this would drastically increase Tahm Kench's ceiling. Drastically. Like you could run him in all like a gem package and have a different region backup. You know, Mentor of the Stones would probably come back and get played in this deck. All sorts of stuff. What were you thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly because every time I think about Tahm Kench, I'm like, it's such a shame that Bilgewater has this whole self-damage package and they can't really use it unless you're playing a Tahm Kench deck. Bilgewater got that package and it did nothing with the rest of Bilgewater. Because it's so pushed with Targon, I figured, what kind of deck or what region would you play with Tahm Kench if this was it? People like to meme about Tahm Kench with Unyielding Spirit. Maybe even now like Ionia, because of some of their protection spells, they can run a bunch of health pots now. I think it was at least interesting to think about.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you still get advantage of like the Starspring Soraka engine. Pretty crazy. What did you have another region in mind? Like clear, like you said, there's the Unyielding Spirit. There's a lot of other like meme stuff people have done, like Ash Tahm Kench. I think they just call it like frozen fish or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Where you would frostbite things and then eat them.
Yeah, that's another big one, I think. Yeah.
It'd be really interesting. It would shake up Tahm Kench a lot, that's for sure. It would kind of unleash him from the Bilgewater shackles.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I was going for with this. Okay, next card is actually a Path of Champion card. And because we just talked about Tahm Kench, I figured let's talk about this one too.
Okay, so yeah, Healing Bomb, 2 mana, burst, heal, and ally 5. Just taking this to PvP, basically.
Yeah, from Path of Champions to PvP.
Oh boy. I mean, if you had the Targon Tahm Kench, like you could definitely do this.
Yeah.
You could, and it'd be really, really good. I mean, this card is insanely powerful, right? 2 mana, burst, heal, and ally 5. Guiding Touch already is like so good. Yeah, you don't have the draw card, and that's like a huge drawback, but if you had a deck that was really focused on like dealing damage to its units, there's a lot of like self-damaging stuff in like Noxus, Freljord, Bilgewater. It would clearly be played in like a Soraka strategy if you could make it work.
Yeah, there's the elusive card too, that gives something that's healed elusive. I feel like with Demacia that might actually be a little better than...
Oh, yeah, there's that. It would completely heal up the Lounging Lizard. Remember that card?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a 3/5 heal and ally 5. Yeah, that is so much. That is so much. It would probably be okay most of the time, and then you'd play against like Ravenous Phlox decks would no longer beat Demacia.
Oh, you're right.
If they played this deck.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think of that.
If they played this card. That would be unstoppable. However, there would be a lot of matchups probably where it wouldn't be very good. Where I would see this probably played the most is like a Soraka Galio strategy.
Oh, smart. Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah, for sure. That saw some play like when Galio got released.
And then people figured out Quicksand was good. And have you ever had your formidable units Quicksand?
Sadly, yes.
Really bad.
That is the worst feeling.
Really bad.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of like that though. I think that'd be an interesting one to splash into PvP and see what happens.
Yeah, me too, for sure. There's like what, one healing card in Demacia with like the lifesteal, the Radiant Guardian.
Radiant Guardian.
Yeah. So I don't know if that kind of breaks the region pie, but I think this definitely would. All right, here's another Path of Champions card.
Ooh, the Path. 2 mana Targon slow. Grant an ally round start. Grant me +2/+2. This card's beyond impressive. This card's so incredibly good.
It does nothing on the turn you play it though, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I would play like a Zoe X Ionia deck. There's so many matchups where Zenith Blade plus Twin Disciplines would win you the game on the spot if you had Zoe, because you'd play Zoe and then you'd like bank 2 mana, go to your turn 3, Zenith Blade, they'd respond trying to remove her, and then you Twin Disciplines and save her, and her now higher maximum health total would make it so they could never kill her. These are decks to play like Vile Feast, Withering Wail, sometimes even like Mystic Shots and stuff. So if you could the Path a Zoe and then like just keep her alive for 1 turn, she's unstoppable.
That's true. Yeah.
Unstoppable. Also, oh my god, you could Taric this card.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah, think about like before Yuumi got released, like the Taric Pantheon decks.
Gross. Yeah, and it's every round start, yours and your opponent. So by the time you got to attack again, you're +4/+4. I don't know, man. I think this one might be a little too good.
Yeah, you might be right. I felt like when I saw the card, I was like, okay, it does nothing on the turn you play it, and then it starts going like afterwards. But you're right, this kind of engine like might be a little too much when you think about Zoe and Taric.
A little too good. If you're playing against a deck with like Vengeance and things, then like it keeps it down. But most decks don't have like kill unconditional removal. Like the vast majority of decks.
Yeah.
If you're playing like a Demacia board-based deck or a damage-based removal deck and they hit you with the Path and you can't immediately remove the champion or card or whatever you put it on, yeah, I think you just lose the game. You get to play Zoe Sparklefly and just like protect the queen for like 2 turns.
Yeah.
And then it just wins you the game.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. This is probably why they're Path of Champions cards and not real cards.
That's a real card in Path of Champions?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. I mean, I guess Path is like super fast, huh?
Yeah. Do you ever, maybe it's like a conspiracy theory that Riot releases like cards and they're about to put them in PvP and like, maybe this is too strong. Let's just put it in Path of Champions.
Let's just see how good it is there first.
Yeah, exactly.
That definitely could be it. If you made it grant me +1/+2, it would still be really good, but I think you could like probably put it in, maybe be okay. But +2/+2 is like nuts. Yeah, I mean, just look at a Yuumi unit. Like Yuumi units are impossible to kill.
That's true. Yeah.
Like so big.
Okay, so you said that Lee Sin was one of your favorite champions?
Yes, I do love my boy.
Yeah, I don't, but I respect it for today. Okay, so with Xenoblade nerf, do you think this could ever be an alternative for granting Overwhelm in Targon?
Wow, okay, so changing Destiny's Call to now also give Overwhelm. You would play this. I think like you could absolutely make a Destiny's Call deck. I think it would end up being a Fae Yuumi deck because what you would want to put it on is either an attach unit, because then even if it gets removed, the stats and the Overwhelm keyword stay on the attached unit, right? So you could just slap it on something else, right?
Yeah, right.
Or you can put it on Hungry Owlcat. You have a 10 power Overwhelmer with Spell Shield. I don't think you would want to play it in Lee Sin. Lee Sin's very particular about how you need to spend your mana. And like, you just never have time to cast an 8 mana spell before you get Lee Sin out, because the deck can be so like tempo negative sometimes if you do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. You kind of want to cast a spell when he's like, where you get extra benefit from the spell if he's already on board. And for this, he needs to be in hand. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. You just can't afford to take the turn off, especially with like the other nerfs the deck has received. But I think this would be, do you know how much people would hate losing this card?
Okay, so there's actually a story. This deck was pretty mean, but it was better than you'd expect. I used to play this Sparklefly deck before Sparklefly got nerfed and before Aphelios got changed, where he would still put 2-cost allies from your deck. I would put a Destiny's Call on a Sparklefly, and then I would shuffle it into the deck with counterfeit copies. And then Aphelios would pull out like a 9-10 Sparklefly every time you played his Crescendum. The earliest you could do was like turn 6. And if you could do that, and you would have that lifesteal, you would just stabilize the game and win instantly. It never really
That's such a funny idea. The counterfeit copies. Oh my god.
Yeah, just pull it from your deck with a 2 or 3 mana weapon. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I think this would be a very, very good card. I think unfortunately it wouldn't be a very good card in the way you want it to be.
Yeah.
I think it would just be used to power degenerate strategies, basically.
On your YouTube, I think by now it's your second most viewed video. It's called Bae Goes Deep.
The classic, Bae Goes Deep.
So I'm sure you get asked this question all the time too. These are pretty much community favorite card changes. So I figured with this card, I get asked this a lot. Like, what if Ripper's Bay would toss instead of Obliterate? So we could do a little myth busting here.
All right, so I'm gonna read the whole text because I gotta really absorb this. I don't know what this card does. All right, so when allies attack, before Lurk tries to activate, toss the top card of your deck if it doesn't have Lurk. So this would be, you're saying, like used in a deep deck, huh?
Yeah, because normally it obliterates the top card, but I believe that the specific text for toss is like obliterate the card from the bottom of your deck. But just for this example, let's pretend it does it from the top.
The top, yeah. I mean, that's pretty interesting. It would turbo draw you to champions. Because the only reason you don't draw your champions on like every draw step in deep is because it tosses from the bottom up. That's why you always have like 4 or 5 champions left. But if you did it from the top, it would hit a champion and just stop tossing, which could like get you there really fast. I still don't think, honestly, you could play this card. I think it's card disadvantage. Deep needs the tempo early in the game so that it can swing back really hard on like turn 7. I hate to be a Debbie Downer about this one, but I still don't think you could play it.
No, I agree. Myth busting, because I get asked about this so often, but I figured, you know, let's get another opinion on this.
I wish I could say that I would play it, but I absolutely would not.
There's not even like any payoff like Slaughter Dog.
Ooh, all right. Twisted Treeline. Man, people really like these bad landmarks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so the new text reads, once I've seen 3 fearsome allies attack, destroy me to summon an attacking Vilemaw. I have heard this one before. People have brought this one up. I'm going to quietly Google Vilemaw.
It's a 6/6 fearsome.
6/6 fearsome. Okay.
And it murders your team in Twisted Treeline before it was removed on League.
Yeah, I started playing League like right as Twisted Treeline was like moving out.
Oh, okay. Damn.
I never got to hang out with Vilemaw. And in League and Legends of Runeterra, I never hang out with Vilemaw because this card's terrible. The old one, at least. The new one, in attacking Vilemaw is really good, but we have to break down, like, one, what you need to set this up, and then how good is the payoff, right? The amount of mana I would like to pay for a 6/6 attacking fearsome is like 6, probably less. I think like 5 for it to be like kind of good, 6 for it to be like not the worst thing on the planet, or for it to be like really good. You have to pay 3 mana just to like start setting this up. And then the problem is, 1, it takes up board space. 2, it alerts your opponent to what you're trying to do, so they could use an inefficient removal spell to take out one of your fearsome units just to keep you blanked on this for a while. And 3, your turn 3 is really important on decks with fearsome. You have your frenzied skitterers, maybe you're setting up a big Elise swing. I often go 2 mana guy into Stygian. You're not going to be able to make this work on curve, and then even if you do, it's probably not good enough. Like, if you are going to be able to pop this on like turn 4, right, you're already winning the game. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If your opponent doesn't have any removal for your 3 fearsome attackers on turn 4, after you wasted an entire turn casting Twisted Treeline, you're already going to win. Yeah, I think unfortunately, is this way better? Absolutely. Is it good enough to see constructed play? I don't think so.
Okay, that's fair. Fearsome decks, Spider Aggro still exist. I guess that's the aggro deck to put this card in, but I don't think that deck would be better, even if it's summoned on attack.
I don't think so either. I mean, you'd probably lean super hard into like triple Fading Memories and like really try to, you'd have like Stalking Shadows, Fading Memories, and you'd probably try to abuse a multiple Stygian turn in order to pop it. But like you said, I don't think it'd really make the deck better. I think you just make it slower and more unreliable.
All right, there's 2 more mids to bust.
Okay.
Or confirm, I guess.
Or confirm, yeah. Vanguard Lookout, the 1/4 elite, now says I can block units with elusive. Oh, it has reach. That's a great change. That's a great change. However, you're still not going to play this card. The opportunity cost of just 1, putting the card in your deck, and 2, paying mana to play it when it doesn't attack, it doesn't really deal any damage. It can block, but right now there's not a lot of like X ones. I guess you have like Boom Baboon, but if your opponent has Boom Baboon, they're gonna Flame Chompers it out of the way anyway. This reminds me a lot of the 1/3, I think it's called like Stony Suppressor, that makes spells cost 1 more.
Oh yeah.
Where in theory you go, oh yeah, that's sick, right? Like that's gonna completely hose these like Ahri decks and stuff. And then in practice, it just doesn't, because what you're doing is you're spending 2 mana to put out no pressure. And that's what Vanguard Lookout does. Like, yeah, it sounds great. Oh, it can always block elusive units. But in reality, what's going to happen is your opponent's just not going to attack with their elusive units that it could profitably block. You're probably much better off just playing like a challenger unit. So I think, unfortunately,
I saved the best for last. This is the one that's probably requested by far the most everywhere.
Everywhere? All right,
Everywhere.
let's see it. What is it?
You'll agree when you see it.
Yone. Oh my god, you're right. Okay, Yone now lets you draw a Yasuo. Right off the gate, let's talk about Yone Windchaser and why we haven't seen it. It used to kind of be played like way back when, but it's been power crept so hard. Like so hard. And it was never that good to begin with. Drawing a Yasuo is very strong. I don't think it holds up to what 7 mana units do currently in the game. It's great when you have a Yasuo on board. Not the worst thing on the planet when you don't have a Yasuo on board. Like if your opponent doesn't open attack, you get to stun them, buy yourself some time to develop your Yasuo, that kind of stuff. I think this would be a fantastic change, and I think it'd be totally fine. I don't think it'd break the game even a little bit. I think it'd be all right.
Is it enough for Yasuo?
I don't think it would make
playable?
Yasuo good.
Yeah, okay, that was exactly my question.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Poor Yasuo.
He's just, there's just a fundamental flaw with that deck where if you don't have Yasuo, you're just stunning things for no value.
And that's what you have to do with Yone too. If you need to draw Yasuo, he's also stunning with no value.
Absolutely. So I also think this will never happen because eventually they're going to make a Yone champion, right?
Oh yeah.
Eventually. So I think they kind of want this one to just be like forgotten. Just kind of like, don't look at this one. Look at this new Yone we're going to give you.
They did the same thing with Senna, right? But
exactly,
as a result, they also forgot about Lucian. So
I have seen this one a lot too. What if Yone drew Yasuo? My final answer, and this is just my opinion, is Yasuo would still be bad.
Oh no, the whole community is gonna be in shambles.
You're gonna get 1,800 angry comments on this video. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. All right. Oh, Sai Scout. I like this card. Not like, I don't like playing it because it sucks, but I like the idea of the card. It was predict if you pick a landmark, grant me elusive. Now says play predict. If you pick a landmark that costs 3 or less, summon it. I think this is an awesome change. I think this would make this a staple card, and I love cards like this. Big payoff for building your deck around a certain strategy. It's not an incredible card on its own. Like a 3-mana 2/4 that just predicts is not super good, but if you like super load your deck with landmarks, you get paid off for it. And I like the landmark decks. I like the landmark decks that aren't like win the game landmarks, like Vandal Tree, Sun Disc. I don't really like those kind of things. But like the mid-rangey landmark decks, like Zillion Zareth, I think are one of the coolest decks in the game.
Oh yeah, this would be so good in that deck.
This would be so good, and I would love to see that. It's like card advantage, it's like tempo advantage, it's payoff for building around a certain archetype that might be underpowered for other reasons. And I think that's super good.
Yeah, I was thinking about Talia Ziggs, but I believe they have a lot of units that summon landmarks, and they only run like Preservarium and maybe the stun landmark, maybe like the ancient prep.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
An ancient prep, yeah.
But for a Zillion deck, like the possibility to pull like a Time Bomb or Preservarium with this is super exciting.
Yep, very nice. I like this a lot. It might in the future be too powerful, but that's not what we're here to discuss.
True. I think you're gonna like this one.
Okay. 2 mana focus speed, recursion, copy the next spell you play this round onto the same targets. I love cards like this. I absolutely love cards like this. Have you ever played Magic the Gathering?
No, not really. No.
Okay, there's an archetype in Magic the Gathering called Storm. It's a keyword that says for every spell you've cast this turn, a card with Storm copies itself. So if you have a card that says deal 2 damage, Storm, for every other spell you've cast, or for every spell you've cast, it copies itself. It would deal 2, deal 2, deal 2, deal 2, deal 2.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like Ezreal Karma, but on like one card. And this reminds me of that. And I would love to have a card like this. I'd have so much fun building random stuff. I would absolutely try to copy Glorious Evolution. I would try to copy War Mother's Call. I would try to copy all sorts of stuff. There's something busted with this. Absolutely, right? Absolutely something would be busted.
Agreed, yeah.
But it would be really fun. And if you could introduce this type of mechanic, this type of card into the game, these are the type of cards that are like fun, what do you call them? Like Johnny cards. Where they're like really fun build around, you could do really cool stuff. Maybe they're not the most competitive, but that's not really what's important. I want to see more cards like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I was actually, it's pretty funny that you mentioned it, like how this would be great in like Ezreal Karma, for example. I was playing an ARAM deck yesterday, and I pulled Karma into Ezreal. So I'm pretty good at piloting that deck now, for sure.
That's pretty good. I once did a Zero Aurelia.
No
That was
way.
really fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. 2 final questions. First of all, what's your favorite change here from all the cards you've seen?
Ooh, okay, let me scroll up. My favorite change, honestly, is probably, I think the Sai Scout.
Good choice. I think it's the same for me.
I think that's my favorite one. It's the one that I feel like could be the most real change, if that makes sense. It's like if you pitched all of these to the dev team, I think Sai Scout has the highest chance of like actually being changed.
Yeah.
I think it would make an archetype that feels a little bit clunky and you can use another card. An archetype that people really like and gives them a powerful tool that won't like break the game. It's just strong. Right? It's just good. Huge fan of Sai Scout. Recursion would fuel so many YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So many YouTube videos.
That would be great for you as an Ionia lover. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'd have to pick Recursion, probably the second.
A great choice. I kind of expected, I think. The other ones were mostly like, okay, I've seen a lot of people talk about these. Let's see what you think about them. But the Bayou Brunch and Tahm Kench were definitely like really out there and definitely a bit much. But I think just give him some love because he doesn't have much going on in Buildswater, and just making it feel more like what he does in League of Legends with protecting allies was pretty cool to at least showcase.
That's true, because he doesn't really do that in Runeterra. And that's like his big thing.
Exactly.
In League. That's like why you pick him.
Yeah, when you try to eat somebody in Runeterra, instead it's like your opponent killing that ally anyway before Tahm Kench can even do anything to protect them. So it feels like a really, really big flavor miss, because it's exactly the opposite of what he does in League.
If perhaps him capturing, like, let's say his spell that he got every turn, and his Bayou Brunch let you like capture allies, but then they came back after like one turn or something.
Yeah.
That could be a way to have him more allied capturing centric.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, if like, again, we run into the problem where if you were leveling Tahm Kench, you're probably already winning.
Final question. Just from the top of your head, you don't have to answer this. Do you have a change to any card at all in the game that you'd like to see?
Oh my God. Oh my God. If you gave me an hour, I bet I could give you a really good answer. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, top of my head, Fangs, I want to have 3 power again.
Perfect. That's usually my first answer too. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. RIP, my boy Fangs. I can't believe they double nerfed him, man. With Serpent and his power. That was so brutal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that patch. And also Star Shaping going to 4, which was fair. Shaping. Yeah, I love Targon. I don't love Ionia, but Targon is so much fun.
I feel you. I understand why you don't love it. I do. I don't blame you for that. But I'm glad we can relate on the Targon.